If you change modulation, of course it's less robust modulation, but you don't see big differences in this condition, with this type of scenario. So I try to give you some very rough conclusions. If you take the outdoor vehicular, outdoor means that you are receiving with an antenna on the roof of your car. In this situation, the big or the medium power in the center, located in the center of the city transmitter is okay, is good for providing outdoor coverage. It is on a high quote with respect to the low power sites, so you don't have a mask effect. And also the narrower roads are covered, at least with the QPSK. If you increase a bit the modulation, so the capacity, perhaps you have some diffraction, and maybe you need some additional low power to reinforce the coverage. But we are considering now only the situation where 30 watt were used. We expect that increasing by 7 dB the power, the outdoor coverage is not a problem. So we could say that for outdoor, a broadcast site is more than enough. If we go to the in-car vehicular, so we have a terminal which is receiving with an antenna inside the car. Then you need to increase the power. With the maximum power, it's likely that in the area we tested, the coverage is still okay. But if you consider the whole city of Torino, this site is not enough. Probably you need to complement with the other bigger one, which is the other broadcasting one. And this is true for the QPSK. For 16 QAM, probably you need some additional low power. So for this scenario, in-car vehicular coverage, the broadcast sites are typically sufficient if you don't have a big demand in terms of capacity, so we are using the most robust modulation. If you are going to use a less robust modulation, perhaps you need some gap fillers. How many we are going to discover? But if you're looking to indoor, then things are a bit different. At the moment, we just use the lower level power, the lower level of power, so it's difficult to make an evaluation. You need a higher level in order to evaluate what happens indoor. We are below the threshold. But first result is that only one broadcast site is not enough. With 2 broadcasting sites, you can achieve some result, but a certain number of low power transmitters is likely to be required, especially if you increase the modulation. So indoor coverage is not possible only with broadcast sites. But broadcast sites are still important because they give you the possibility not to increase too much the low power sites, so to limit your investments, if you like, in the network. But coming to the second part, what contents? Of course, TV is one, let's say, content which is given for granted or for free, if you like. Or it's the easiest one to provide because it's already there, but maybe it's not the most successful one. We have already learned some experience from the past. Maybe you have to invent new contents, but then these new contents cannot be so expensive as producing a new TV channel. So we tried to make some experiments, for example, trying to repurpose some of the contents we have in a different way, more targeted to the user. This is just an example. I mean, we did some of these services or test services for DVB-H, but since DVB-H and DVB-SH have basically exactly the same structure of transporting the signal, the same exactly services can be done in this environment also. And they are all typical broadcasting services, so it's one-to-many, or one-to-all, if you like. Another example could be creating some channel with user-generated content, collecting contents from the users and selecting them, of course, and automatically creating playlists and so on. But these are just examples. We heard in the previous presentation that many services are targeting the automotive users, so the users which are on the move. And then data broadcasting was also another word that we heard in the previous speeches. And so we made already also some testing on these services they could be used for delivering news or delivering infomobility services. They could also be used to deliver video, let's say, push video on demand. It's not a full bidirectional, maybe full on-demand services, but it's something that if you have a storage in your receiving device, then you can push contents to the users, and the content can be pushed also, or the user can then have the contents which are more, let's say, in line with his profile, if you like. So you can think of many of these situations. And here we have just, of course, we made these examples when terminals were still a bit in a kind of prototype way, but just to give the idea or just to understand what type of contents can be provided through a broadcast channel using data broadcasting to devices which can understand this type of content. These, for example, are informations about traffic or webcams or whatever. We've seen already many of them in the previous presentations. So, to conclude, of course, we are interested in providing to the public and to the users in mobility contents of mobile TV only, but not only of mobile TV, but also additional services based on the different technologies which are available. And the VBSH is it seems one of the most appealing one, also because it's targeting a frequency band which is not trying to use also other frequencies band which are more oriented to other usages, the broadcasting one, for example. And since we are speaking about services which are oriented to the mobile users, they require absolutely a complete coverage. So you cannot think to offer a service which is just partial coverage. We see in this that the satellite is the right way to provide these services to the whole country, 100% coverage without huge investments. So thank you very much.